This is a painting that I started quite a long time ago and I want to finish it up. I was giving a painting lesson doing this painting and of course had to help the person who was doing the lesson. That was my job. So here you go. It's been sitting here a while and I'm bound and determined to just finish this painting up. I'll show you my palette. It's a very nice basic palette with red, yellow, and a couple of blues and a purple. There's a medium which is a gloss medium which slows the drying time, and then some white. So where I'm going to start is to just make, this is the water here, and this reflection, I want to make it the same as the reflection that I see in the clouds. So that's going to be my goal, and it's usually, reflections are a little bit darker. Then, so we do have some beach in the front of this painting, and I surmise that there's a sunset in there somewhere. So that's really just a little bit too yellow for me. I'm going to cut it with a complementary color, purple. So it's, yes, so it's grayed slightly, and maybe just a bit too much grade. There we go, because we don't want to have that look as though it's coming right out of the tube. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at the shape and the form that is already in the sky and the cloud, and I want to mimic that upside down. So you see this, I look at it in terms of big shapes, sort of a round cloud, and I'm going to make this round. I'm going to add the colors which I already see up here, and I just have to remix them because it has been ages that we have worked on this painting, and they need to be a little bit darker than what you see in the sky, because light is coming through the sky and light is not coming through the sand. So you're going to see similar colors, but you're not going to see as dark colors. You know, there's all kinds of creativity that we can do in painting, but if we want it to mimic reality, at least be, obviously these are not colors which you would see that strong in reality, but so I'm just trying to find a happy medium between making it pop and making it garish, which is not my style. I'm adding some darks on the underside of these clouds. So everything has, in order to be three-dimensional, even a cloud, there's a dark, there's a middle tone, and there's a highlight. So now you see the darks that I'm adding at the bottom of the clouds, right? Because the highlight would be on the top usually. I mean, you know, it's generally the same kind of thing. And I want this light spot to pop. And in the photo there was some dark clouds. So I am adding these darks on the bottom. Just less is more. I'm cutting these colors. I'm graying them slightly by adding the opposite color on the color wheel. You know, so if it's purple, I'm adding a bit of yellow. And if it's blue, I'm adding an orangish color. So you can see it's getting a little more definition and realism. Now it's quite far away, so I don't want the intensity of the color to be as strong or as intense as the foreground, the palm trees and such. So the intensity of the color means that I've got to cut it a little bit with some white. And boy, I'm really liking it in just a few minutes. And as you see, I like to use fingers for clouds, and that's the way I do it. So now I'm putting the highlights on these clouds, and you can see you have the dark spot, and then you have the highlight, which is has to be a similar color as is at the bottom of this cloud, right? It's in the blue-purple family. So now they look realistic. Not white, but they're lighter, right? That one's a little too light. But now now for some people this painting might have looked done, but I know that I can just add some more pizzazz to it. I'm adding some purple in the sky and at the top, because at the top of the sky is always darker, and I am gonna carry this a little bit of blue, just add a little bit of wow factor here. Just be careful. I see white on my brush. Maybe another dark cloud. It just adds a layer of dimension, right? And I'm going to just phase that cloud out a little bit. And I will add that back in because I want it to pop, and I'm laying it over the dark, which I just did. It's a pretty easy thing for me. Some continuity. I'm going to add a little bit of that same color here. And it's not very strong. I'm using a dry brush, which is just very little paint, and you see how I'm using the side of my brush to, I'm doing this kind of round motion because it's a cloud, and that's a bit of a sharp edge. I'm just going to go over that and kind of make it softer. Yep, that I want to soften up a little bit too. So you can just put a little bit of paint over your what you've already done to soften it up, to make it recede, because this is quite far away, correct? And I'm often accused of making everything equally close because I do like detail in a painting. So how do you make you know, the little wow factor, the contrast? And this is a very light area, so you see I'm adding some complementary color, which is an orange, a yellow orange. I'm going to add in there with a little white, because we see that, yes, right, and we're going to add that. That's how this beach is going to eventually shine, is this little bit of lights, which this detail is going to make it pop. And I'm going to do the same thing right along the water's edge. I want it to be a little lighter than that. Here we go with our water's edge. Oh, how beautiful, right? Yep, and even a little more. This is cadmium yellow deep. Nice, beautiful water's edge, right? With a few highlights in the water from our sky. And this is a relatively small painting. And one thing is, you've got to have your lines straight. What a big improvement already in this painting. Couple of dots which indicate shine, maybe water that came up on the beach, right? And from its center, most of it's concentrated in the light area, but I do kind of fan it out and put a few highlights radiating outward, right? Because there will be a few. It's my way of making it look real. So what I'm doing is just looking at the sky and copying the colors, bringing them down into the beach. Boy, doesn't that look like a nice reflection now? as I see them, as you see that white in the sky, I bring it down into the beach area, and also the blue you see at the bottom right of the page there is coming from the sky. And I also added some blue tones to the beach water, as you can see, which comes from the sky. And now it's starting to look like a real reflection. Just adding some nice colors in there. And as you see, some reds into the palm trees. And some greens. Here we go. This painting has been sitting on my easel for quite some time, and I finally decided I'm going to go ahead and get that done tonight. So we just added some matching colors. I looked at the sky and I put the same colors down into the beach area. Added some darks to the palm trees, added some highlights and a bit of color to the palm trees, put some darks under the clouds, some highlights on the clouds, and I'm just about to sign my name, so here we go. So you can see that in a close-up way. And those dots of white where the sun is really add some pop, and that's what people love. They love sunsets with that reflection there. So pretty happy with the whole project. You can see my color palette. There we go with my red, my yellow, my blues, my purples. Okay, good night from Landscapes You Love. Hey, thanks guys for watching. Please subscribe and like my page. And if you would like to have a landscape that you love, click the link below at luannbagnall.com. Thanks.
یادت آن تا می یاشم که